I was grinding up Barnstaple Road the other day, heading towards Five Dock Park, and I was thinking, well, they've put in some new speed cushions and done a bit of work on this road to turn it into the East-West Regional Cycleway. Is this actually going to be effective at attracting some demographics that aren't cycling at the moment? So this is what the Australian demographic breakdown looks like at the moment, with men in blue and women in red. And this is what I think the cycling demographics look like in the inner west. In other words, really heavily skewed towards middle-aged men. Now, I'm not talking about cycling on the Bay Run or the Cooks River or the Hawthorn Canal on a closed path. I'm talking about riding on a road like this one. I mean, who rides down from Long Barnstaple Road down to the Bay Run, for instance? And it's typically middle-aged men. Not entirely, but they certainly seem to make up the majority of them. So how do we tell if the East-West Regional Cycleway is working? And I think the way to do that is to collect some data, do a bike count, do a bike census. And I got that idea as I was watching this lady ride past. I thought, well, we just need to, stop somewhere along this road for a couple of times and just count cyclists going past, but not just count cyclists, to actually classify them. Now, what I've done in the past is I've sat there at Jada's Cafe, at one of those corner tables outside, drinking a coffee and filming cyclists crossing this pedestrian crossing. Alternatively, if you like a Rocco's bacon and egg roll or prefer their coffee, I guess you could sit outside up there. The important thing is to have a nice direct line of vision at the cyclists going past, so you can pick out, are they male, are they female, are they a kid, are they a teenager, are they in, say, their 20s or 30s, are they middle-aged, are they grey-haired, kind of that breakdown. Maybe also being able to pick out, are they a sports or fitness cyclist, are they just doing a group ride, which is kind of casual, or are they actually out, are they going to Coles to do some shopping, or are they riding to the cafes to get a coffee or something, they're in casual clothes, just to kind of get some sort of breakdown. Because what we really would want from the regional cycleway is to get away from the mammal stereotype, like this bloke here. Be nice to be that young and skinny and fit, but the cycleway is going to be a fail if the only people using it are men like that. What we should be seeing here is women in casual clothes, going up and down the road in larger numbers than there are today, and the demographic profile looking something more like the general population. So, I thought, would I ride down here with my kids? Because if they were going to Concord High School this year, we could ride from over towards Domremy through Five Dock Park, which will be part of the regional cycleway, get to this corner and then get on Barnstaple and then follow the cycleway all the way out to Concord High School, because it goes right past the back door. Would I let them do that, knowing what the design of Barnstaple Road is going to look like? And my answer is, not in a million years. I just don't think the design is good enough to have kids riding on it on their own. And look, I think I'm prejudiced, because when the kids were going to All Hallows, I crossed this corner with them, going to school and coming home from school for 3 years. So I've been across this intersection back and forth, I don't know, maybe 800 or 1,000 times. And I know what an absolute shocker it is. And I've been up and down Barnstaple Road countless times on a bike or walking the dogs. And, so I know what it's like to use. And I wouldn't let kids on it unattended. Even with the speed cushions and the treatment that's going to be put on this corner, raised intersection and all the rest of it. Which is pretty sad. $7 million is going to be spent on this thing. And chances are it's just not going to deliver value for money. Now, do we stop and redesign the thing and try and make it better, or do we proceed? And look, I think it's taken so long to get to this point, we just let it run. But the important thing is to come back and reevaluate it. To collect that data and think, is this working? Do we see a lot more women? Have we seen an increase in the number of women of all ages using this particular stretch of cycleway? Are we seeing them riding with kids? Are we seeing anyone riding with kids? Are we seeing kids riding on their own? And if the answer is no, it's like, well, what do we do next? Go back to the drawing board and improve upon what's been built so far, because it can't just be for, middle-aged guys like me dressed in lycra using it for, sport or riding up to the shops or, like I do on a regular basis. It needs to be more inclusive. It needs to be less sexist. And if you think about it, if council builds this thing and it's predominantly used by men because women are excluded because it's not safe enough, then it means council has a what's the word for it? Not an indirect, but essentially it has a sexist transport policy, which is not real good. And it also means it has an unsustainable transport policy, which is pretty strange given, the mayor picked up an award for sustainable something or other the other day. But if you can't use, if you are not willing to use a particular stretch of road on a bike to, say, get to the shops or get to the gym or get to yoga, or take the kids to daycare or take them to school or, whatever the hell you want to do, then you have to drive, which means, it's not very sustainable, is it? Anyway, just some thoughts there. I think some work does need to be done on just basic data collection like this, which would involve a hell of a lot of a hardship, i.e. setting up a camera, sitting somewhere having a coffee, and ticking some boxes to get some basic kind of demographic information. And I think if that was done a number of times, so we could build up a reasonable data set, and do it at different intervals. So kind of do it now, and then do it after the regional cycleway opens. And it probably needs to be done a year after it opens as well, and 2 years after that, so you can see if the picture is changing over time. Anyway, there's some food for thought. If you want to do a bit of coffee drinking and box ticking, say so in the comments, because it's going to need more than one person doing this.